everyone, it's Desiree, day 23. This is amazing. I am going to be featuring Scrappy Tails today and for day 24, so where do you see that one? So for these projects, or for this project, I am going to use their 6x6 stamp set called Candlelight Poinsettias stamp. Love the images of these. They look very vintage for me, and they are great for coloring. I'm also going to be using the coordinating die set. I'm also using the Hot Foil Christmas Sentiment and the coordinating die set for that as well, and the Slimline Wood Grain background die. So I've taken care of my foiling. I do have the Spellbinders Glimmer Hot Foil system, and it works beautifully with these plates by Scrappy Tails. And I used gold foil. I die cut the wood grain, excuse me, the Slimline wood grain die from a craft cardstock. And I'm putting tape on the back while it's still on the die after I ran it through my Spellbinder 6. I want to keep those pieces in there. You can cut this that some of them will pull out to give you more texture. But I wanted to keep them in there. I just wanted the faint illusion of a black cardstock, and that's what I'm going to put behind that, and it's going to be the same size. This die is 3.5 by 8.5 when it comes to her slimline, so they are a great size, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to cut that panel down. I have my card base all set. I cut my card base from an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and I cut that by 8.5 by 7, and then I score along the 7-inch side at 3.5. This way I also get 2 card bases from it, because that leftover 4-inch piece I cut down to 4 inches by 8 and get a 4 by 4 card base. I'm going to use some double-sided tape, and I'm going to place this up onto my slimline card base size. And all of these pieces now are layered, and you can just get a hint of the black coming through that wood grain. I will use some of my liquid adhesive. Some areas are picking up, which is fine, but again, I do want them to be adhered down, so I'm just going to add a little bit of glue in there and make sure that's secured. Going to come in with the vintage photo, going around the edge of this, and then I'm also going to go across the top too, where it'll pick up some of those lines and just add more detail to them. And then I'm going to come up from the bottom, both bottoms, because if you keep turning it, it's always the bottom, right? Right. Hey. So we're going to set that aside. So I'm going to only show you part of my coloring. I actually dug into my Altenew alcohol markers. They are my go-to when it comes to alcohol markers. Now, I also used to use the Prismacolors, and they are great too. But since I've been using them for other projects, they're not refillable. These are. So, and they're at a nice price point. So I'm just going to show you coloring of just a couple of the images and the colors that I used. So when it comes to the alcohol markers, excuse me, depending upon the image, I go in with my darkest color. I then come in with my medium, just overlapping a little bit on that dark color. And then I come in with my lightest, again, just overlapping a little bit onto the medium color. Again, that's if I have 3 colors. If you go over the entire image with your lightest, thinking that you're blending it, the lightest color can actually work like a colorless blender and wipe out those colors that you've done. So I go on to layers with those. Now, some people go lightest to darkest. Some people put a layer of light down and then put their darkest in. Whatever works best for you. I think it all depends on my mood of what ones that I am going to use. The colors that I've used, I've been posting up onto the screen in case I'm using different colors. I am using a different green from the holly leaves from the poinsettia leaves. I want the holly leaves just a little bit brighter. All right, so now we're going, I've got all of my images colored. I've got them all die cut. Now we are going to start putting together the front of our card. So I've die cut the foil sentiment, excuse me, and I'm going to use my foam squares to prop this up. Now you could also die cut multiple pieces of cardstock as well, and that's probably what I should have done. You know, and again, use your scraps for that. I do have a basket of scrap cardstock, whether it got bent or I stamped on it, didn't like the way that it's stamped, or maybe it's a background I know that I'm not going to use. I mean, we can use those. No one will see it because we're going to glue them together. Once I have that set, I have that just a little bit low on the slim line, didn't want to put it directly in the center. And now I'm just going to have fun placing all of these beautiful poinsettias around. What I loved about this stamp set, and this was from a prior release, is there's many images of the poinsettias. They're different. It's all, you know, you're getting, you know, like 3 to 4 different images of a poinsettia, which is great. Especially, that's what I like, because I love to collage. I love to add images on top of images on top of images. And you can see here what I'm doing is I'm just putting my layout. Where are these pieces going to go to fill up the front of this card? When it comes to these types of cards, I am not the faint at heart. I love to layer. I love to add a lot. If that's not for you, then add 1 poinsettia to the bottom of this sentiment and 1 holly leaf or 2 holly leaves. Again, create how you like to create. And if you want to try this, great. You may find, oh my, yeah, no, don't like this many layers, don't like this many number of items, and that's okay. I love to have a card that's just full. They're more difficult to mail, and there will be at a higher price point to mail. More postage would be required, because something like this I would put in a bubble mailer to make sure that it is protected, to make sure it's got cushion going around it. So it would be, you know, added postage. I'm using my Spellbinders reverse tweezers just to lay down my images. Now that I know how everything's going to go down, I am just going to prop a few of them, while others are going to get directly adhered down using my liquid adhesive. I'm going to take this last holly set and put that right onto the corner there, and that one got propped up. And now we're going to start layering in the poinsettias. Now you noticed I didn't color the centers. When it comes to a poinsettia, I don't like to color in the centers, and if I do, I always still add gems or glitter, oh my god, I just totally forgot what they were called. Nouveau drops, glitter glue, we'll call it that, to give that shine into the center of the poinsettia. I did go around these poinsettias with I keep saying poinsettias, with some vintage photo. I wanted to dull that white edge. Just push that back just a little bit. Just because that's there, I could have fussy cut around them, which is fine. These are not difficult to fussy cut. But if I can avoid that, I will. I'm not a fussy cutter. I really try to avoid it. But by all means, you could have certainly done that to lose that. I do like the white area that's around it and then going over it with the vintage photo, because it helps them to stand up off this panel. Again, testing the drops first. Okay, we did not have a poof going on as we did in day 15. Oh my goodness, I don't think I'm ever going to forget day 15. But I added the red to the holly, and I'm going to come in with my gold stickles, that was the word I was looking for before, and just dot that into the center just to add a little bit more shimmer and shine. Now we know, since this is a Christmas card, 9 out of 10, we're going to have some white splatter, and the snowstorm's going to come in. Now this is probably about another 2 inch. I didn't do too many snowstorms, as I put that in quotes like you can see me. But I do like the effect of splatter, and it really doesn't have to be a Christmas card. It could be any card, because I can change the color of splatters. They always don't have to be white. For Christmas, it's usually white. I will, after I'm done with the white, I'm going to come in with my gold shimmer spray, and I just tap down onto the pump so that I get splatters instead of a full-on mist. So that is our card for day 23, featuring Scrappy Tails Crafts. Her designs are gorgeous. Her designs are beautiful. Wait till you see tomorrow's and what you can do with those wonderful spinning globes. As always, I do hope you'd enjoyed day 23 of my 2021 Christmas series. As long as the products are available, they will be listed down below. But remember, this is the year. Dig into your stash. Look at what I did. Look at the technique that I used, whether it was the coloring, whether it was the putting of the card together. Use those techniques into what you have in your crafty space. If you have any questions, make sure you leave those down below, and I will make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. Continue to enjoy this process. Smile. I hope, for those of you that celebrate Christmas, and I believe Kwanzaa comes in after Christmas, and I could be wrong, apologize if I am, but for those holidays, they are fast approaching. I hope you are looking forward to spending time with the family and friends, and I hope you have a wonderfully beautiful and safe holiday on those days. But always remember, what will also help you get through these holidays, times and leading up to that, always be creative, everyone. And I'll talk to you in day 24. Take care.